Good morning and welcome to the 445 Productive Through Joy show with your host and your boy, Dr. Michael Datcher. The show airs each weekday morning, hella early, hella early AF at 4:45 a.m. here on YouTube's Michael Datcher channel, then 4:45 p.m. on Facebook Live. We are a show aimed at entrepreneurs, those who have their own business, those who like to own their own business, and those who simply would like to live like a boss. Today, we're talking about faith and productivity. Whoa, a super important topic. Faith in its broadest possible meaning. What is its tie between itself and productivity? All right. If you are new to the show, let me say a few words about myself. In the meantime, if you're enjoying the show so far, please swipe left or right across your device. Become a subscriber on YouTube's Michael Datcher channel. Invite people to join the conversation. Also, see about us at productivethroughjoy.com. This is your host and your boy, Dr. Michael Datcher. I am the author of the New York Times bestseller, Raising Fences, which was a Today Show book of the month pick. That book's film rights were optioned by the actor Will Smith, whose people called my people. And I eventually agreed to write the screenplay for that particular project. I'm also the author of the acclaimed historical novel Americas, which will be coming out in America this April 2018. Look for that in bookstores everywhere from Third World Press, iconic Third World Press. I'm also the former executive director of the World Stage, a literary and jazz venue here in California. My educational background is UC Berkeley as an undergraduate. My master's is from UCLA, and my PhD in English literature is from the University of California at Riverside. I'm currently a professor of English literature at Loyola Marymount University here in California. I'm an expert at being productive. I don't say that to brag, but people are oftentimes surprised at my level of productivity given how crazy my own personal narrative is. I am the product of a young girl who was raped at 16, gave birth to me at 17, and subsequently gave me it for adoption to a wonderful single divorcee at the age of 16. My birth mother was 16. So at the time, no biological father, no adopted father. Listen, difficult times for the young MD, yet as Kool Modi famously said, how you like me now? Right? And if I can be this productive through joy, so can many of us who are watching the show be as well. People like us who come from difficulty oftentimes, listen, we have a built-in excuse as to why we cannot ball. It's a good excuse. I've got a lot of good excuses, trust me, for why I shouldn't be here, as many of the rappers say. But when people like us can fight through, faithfully move through difficulty and challenge, and begin to have success, begin to have our dreams manifest. I'm rhyming, but it's not a contest. We encourage people around us, guys. We give people hope that if we can do it, so can they. And that's such an important gift to give. Just by living our lives, we can be an encouragement to others and make the world a smaller place as our lives begin to impact those around us. We can then see those people we love, care about, also have success as well. And that's a beautiful thing. All right. Where are we at? Oh, yes. So that idea really inspires the show, inspires the business. So again, go to productivethroughjoy.com. We speak to groups, organizations, and universities about being productive through joy. Very, very powerful public programs. We also offer live one-on-one productive through joy consulting. Please again become a subscriber on YouTube's Michael Datcher channel. It's all free. I did say free. 1, 2, 3, 4, free. Holla at us. All right, we'll holla back. Okay. So today again we're talking about faith and productivity. In the morning show, we also like to touch on the idea of framing your day before your day has a chance to frame you. As we know, as adults, at times we wake up with trouble on our mind, woo-wee, and then that trouble follows us. Throughout our day, and we find ourselves in trouble. Even as we go into bed, go into our sleep mode, that trouble follows us. When we take trouble into our dream state, that's a lot of trouble to be up in. And then wake up with that trouble and maybe some new ones added on during our restless night. That's a lot of people, guys. And I've certainly experienced my share of that as I've shared a few times over the last few months. I've been really almost a year now. I've been going through a series of very complicated, very hurtful, situations with people who I'm close to. And when people who are close to you hurt you, because you're not prepared for that, you have your defense down, it's a lot to deal with, and very serious things as well. So when we go through those things, it can be very, very difficult, and it can and will create stress. So we help people, individuals, in groups, in a group setting, deal with the idea of handling stress via ritual. Ritual can be defined as essentially doing the same thing at around the same time. It can best be seen through example. Let me give you my brief morning ritual. So in the mornings, I wake up at 3:45 a.m., including this morning. I read a couple of spiritual indoor business books. I do our morning show here at 4:45 a.m. At 5 until 5. At 5, I work on my current book until sunrise, which is around 6:20 now here in LA. At that point, I go to the beach. I pray, meditate, do yoga. I just walk out to the beach. I live here along the coast in Venice Beach, California. I bring my drum. It's really powerful. Being out that early in the morning when the sun is just about, when dawn is breaking, essentially. Then I come back and work on my book for a while longer. Then I go back to the beach to run up the coast all the way past Santa Monica's Pier, and all the way back here to Venice to go to my gym, Gold's Gym, to get my buff on, to get my workout in. So guys, by 9:30, I'm feeling amazing. My body is being flooded with endorphins, and that endorphin release gives me a sense of euphoria. As we know from 10th grade science, when the body's feeling joyful, the body's releasing endorphins into the bloodstream, and those endorphins can give us a sense of euphoria that we can then leverage to move ourselves towards our goals and objectives, which is also, if you know the show, we're also interested in the ideal of joy itself being used as a technology to move ourselves towards our goals and objectives. And so all these things come together. I'm reading two great books now. I'm reading, here's one. I'm reading the Nag Hammadi Library, which is a book of ancient Gnostic scriptures, like early 1st, 2nd century literature, very powerful, spiritually edifying. I'm also reading a business/spiritual book called, more of a spiritual book called Owning the Moment, which is a book that is about what it sounds like it's about, just owning the moment, being in the moment. From those two books, I extract some wisdom, which I call the morning chant. Today's morning chant is, as a meditating natural mystic, I am always faithful and stout-hearted, because I know the inner spirit is always with me and is always guiding me towards joy, justice, and abundance. Right? So I think about that throughout my day. I place it on my phone, for example, and I create the morning and afternoon shows based upon that idea. Right? And so today we're talking about faith, for example, and productivity. So let's dive in. Let me also encourage you once again to visit productivethroughjoy.com, see about us, hit that shop button, which gives you all of our programs, our one-on-one consulting programs. Then we have, of course, we come out and speak to groups and organizations, which is our most popular approach to this work, because people want to hear this type of work in mass. It's more inspiring, frankly, doing it in a group setting. Yes, let's dive in. So point one is that faith can be developed. At times in business, the mixture of faith, because of that's such a loaded term in business, is a bit controversial. When people talk about spirituality or God in the context of business, it can be a little weird, honestly. But we think of faith in its broadest possible sense. Faith in your principles, faith in your belief systems, faith in God, faith in spirituality as well, of course. For us, it's actually all tied together, but not for everyone. So we like to be sensitive to that reality. And that faith can be cultivated. We help people to understand that. That's part of which is point one, is that faith can be cultivated. Well, how do you cultivate faith? People oftentimes think of faith as something that one has or is born with or had from a child and brought forward into adulthood. Well, sometimes that is true as well. I mean, listen, in this world there are few absolutes, and when you try to make the spiritual realm or faith in its broadest possible sense absolute, that's a recipe for failure. You're not going to get it, because that's not how faith operates. It's a living, breathing thing, and so it's amorphous. It's always changing the way that it operates, and it's specific to each individual person. I'm not sure why it works that way, but that's my experience of it. in my reading as a layperson who's very interested in faith and spirituality. So it can be cultivated. Well, point two is, well, how do you cultivate faith? You cultivate faith by being engaged in a practice. So I call mine a spiritual practice, but so I meditate, I do yoga, I run, I read spiritual books. I'm interested in faith, right? So I put time into it. I get up extra early because I have a busy day. So before my kids awake, I get up extra early to do this stuff. I'm up now, as with you, right now, at 4:45 a.m. Obviously, my children are. It's my baby girl is still asleep, of course. Hopefully, she'll be asleep for a little while longer. At times, she'll wake up and be like, "Daddy, I want to be the co-host," or some version of that. And so, you have to put in some work. When you cultivate faith by doing some work. Now, works don't equal faith, but they help to cultivate you being in that frame of mind, and it gets you in the spirit. It gets you in the spirit of faithfulness, right? And so as you do those things in a ritualized daily manner, you can build more faith to allow you to step out on faith, to visualize, to want something, to see it, at least in my practice. And then you begin to see those things manifest, which also builds your faith. But it begins by learning more about what you believe in and placing that belief into practice. That's the key. Okay. Which goes into the next point. And the next point, which is point 3, is as you begin to build your faith and activate your faith and do what faith does, at that point you begin to explode with confidence because you know that the thing itself, the spiritual realm, the God, whatever you want to call whatever you call your spiritual thing, or if you're agnostic energy, that energy, that faith, that God, that thing, the primordial thing itself has always been here, right? Because in most belief systems that I know about quite a few of them, and also from my science friends, and also we know from 10th grade science that energy is not created, cannot be created or destroyed. It just changes form. So it's always been here in some form, which means it has to be everywhere, which means it has to also be inside of us, which means that the original thing, the God, the energy, is also inside of us in some way. And so our project then begins to become to know that, as the ancient Egyptians, ancient Kemetans said, to know thyself. And once you know thyself, you know that there is God. I'll just call it God for now to make it easy. That God is inside of you. And when you know that God is inside of you, and you can begin to build the faith that is a real thing, that the primordial thing itself, God itself, is actually inside of you. That means that you can do what God can do because you're made of the same substance, the same energy as God. You can't do, not the big God, not the big spirit, the big inner spirit, the big great spirit, but you are the thing itself, the God itself. And you can begin to do the things at a smaller level, of course, that God can do, which is to create your life, right? And once you can have faith in that, listen, possibilities are literally limitless. Boom, goes the dynamite. Thanks for being here. We air each weekday morning, hella early AF at 4:45 a.m. here on YouTube's Michael Datcher channel, then 4:45 p.m. on Facebook Live. Please go to productivethroughjoy.com. Holler at us. We offer live one-on-one Productive Through Joy consulting. Of course, but we're more well known for our public programs. We go out and speak to groups, organizations, universities about being productive through joy. It's very powerful in a group setting. Have me come out, talk to your people. Go to productivethroughjoy.com, see about us. Definitely become a subscriber here on YouTube's Michael Datcher channel. Thanks for being here. We'll see you this afternoon at 4:45 p.m. Until then, let's talk about it and be about it. Deuces.